Okay, let's take a closer look at the hydraulic portion of an installation. As noted earlier, be sure to first read the Garmin GHP 10 installation guide and preview the detailed instructions and helpful schematic diagrams included. Then, before mounting the hydraulic pump, you need to make sure that it's within 19 inches of the electronic control unit, so the connecting cables will reach. Remember, the length of those cables cannot be increased. Also, make sure to mount the pump in a location where you can extend the hydraulic steering lines of the boat. The pump should be mounted horizontally on a solid surface. A deck mount is preferred, but a bulkhead mount will work as long as the unit is positioned horizontally. Do not install the pump vertically with the pump head pointing down, as this will cause air to be trapped in the pump head and lead to improper operation. Once you've determined the pump location, use the supplied mounting template to mark the pilot hole positions, drill and secure the pump with the mounting screws provided. Then connect the 2 wires from the pump to the connectors marked pump and encoder on the ECU. Now you're ready to connect the hydraulic lines. Before disconnecting any hydraulics on the boat, be sure to follow the recommendations of your boat manufacturer regarding hydraulic hose fittings and installations. You must know how to properly prepare the hoses for removal and how to properly bleed the hydraulic lines of air once the system has been reconnected. If you need to add hydraulic hose to the steering system, be sure to use only hose with machine crimped or field replaceable fittings that meet the PSI pressure specs recommended by your steering system manufacturer. On our most commonly used pump, the 2.1 liter, you'll normally mount the pump aft, near the rudder of your boat. Then, take the long port and starboard hydraulic lines already on the boat, disconnect them from the steering cylinder, and reattach them to the pump. Next, add 2 short hoses from the pump to the cylinder and create a longer return line to the helm. Now let's take a look at the installation for our 2.0 and 1.2 liter pumps. For these, you'll typically tee off of your existing hydraulic lines and then just run a new return line from the pump to the helm. The 2 liter and the 1.2 liter pumps both have manifolds with upper and lower fittings to allow for different hose configurations. You can use the upper fittings, the lower fittings, or a combination of the two. Just don't use any more than 3 hose connections to the unit. Also, do not use thread sealing tape for any hydraulic fitting. Instead, a gel-type anaerobic pipe sealant is recommended. To simplify servicing, both the 2 liter and the 1.2 liter pumps also feature built-in shutoff valves on the manifold. To isolate the pump from the hydraulic system, you simply tighten the 3 brass screws near the lower hydraulic connectors. To reactivate the pump, just loosen the screws to their full open position to disengage the shutoff valve. If the steering on your boat uses an unbalanced cylinder configuration, you'll need to install an unbalanced valve kit on the pump. This valve allows the excess fluid from the larger volume side of the cylinder to bypass into the return line and even things out, hydraulically speaking. The valve kit is sold separately, and it's available by contacting Garmin or your authorized dealer. Okay, now that the pump and hydraulic lines are connected, you're ready to install the shadow drive sensor that enables the system to automatically relinquish the helm whenever you want to hand steer, without disconnecting the autopilot. The shadow drive is a bidirectional, flow-activated switch. This means it can be installed in either direction and on either the port or starboard hydraulic line. You should mount the shadow drive valve horizontally and as level as possible behind the lowest helm station on your boat, if you have more than one. Don't install the valve directly to fittings at the back of the helm. You'll need to install a length of hose between the helm and the shadow drive to ensure proper operation. Also, don't mount the shadow drive within 12 inches of any magnetic material, such as speakers and electric motors, including the autopilot pump. The shadow drive valve should be installed between the pump and the helm, but not between the pump and steering cylinder or power assist module. Also, if you have 2 helms, don't install the shadow drive between them. Put it behind the lower helm and below the level of the vented plug. When you've got all the hydraulics connected, don't turn the system on until you bleed all the air from the helm, the shadow drive, the pump, and all the hydraulic lines. Check your manufacturer's recommendations on proper bleeding techniques for your hydraulic system. That's it for now on the basic hydraulics of your Garmin GHP 10 Autopilot. In the next chapter, we'll show you the dockside wizard and how to configure the GHP 10.